All right, so my phone's still getting hacked, on and off. Still moving forward with the lawsuit against Azzy of Azzyland. Um, I had her IMEI address, which is connected to your modem, connected to your cell phones. You actually have to register your IMEI addresses in order to even go on the commerce, especially in America. Depending on what government, it changes slightly. The registration of IMEI addresses. But yeah, no, this is my genome from Gene Concept ASCII report. It's been a while since I've taken a look at it. I get one every year. Um, so, this physician right there, Kenny Findinsky, she ended up losing her license actually. Shortly after I requested her to order this. She went batshit crazy. She started smoking crack, and I could swear I saw her kill someone in Skid Row about 10 years ago on 5th and Wall. I saw my psychiatrist that day, actually. But no, it's my genetic material, actually. Watch. My room's still kind of a mess. I'll get around to it tomorrow after I get tipsy to clean it. I like getting tipsy and then cleaning. Alright, so the SS, the red SS, actually, they used to call this the red Fuhrer. What it does, it actually is like a natural anti-depression. It's an synthetic, they synthesize it into Wellbutrin, Lyrica, Cymbalta, all that category of selective serotonin re-up inhibitors. So that's kind of interesting. The CT, red is highly ultra pronounced. Um, so the high risk of non-response, that's for medication actually. So if I'm given medication that would interact with my serotonin or my dopamine, this metabolizes it instantly. That's my natural antidepressant, so I don't have any emotional issues, which really always good to know. Especially when living in Long Beach. This C-TA1298C and AA and C677T, those are also lack of emotional issues due to nephronin, dopamine, and serotonin. My brain naturally produces a large amount of that. Also, with these two, it produces testosterone simultaneously, nonstop. That's why I haven't aged that much over the past 32 years. Then opiate OM1AG. This is an anti-addiction gene, actually. It prevents opiates from adhering to the neuroreceptors, which is the easiest thing to actually hear. Molecules any higher are a lot more difficult. So the fact that I have OM1 prevents me from being an alcoholic, crack addict, rageaholic, heroin addict. To begin with, opiates don't work with me. Then this one's one of the most interesting ones. Calcium channel AG, CACAN1C, L type voltage. Calcium channels. That's high pronounced neurotransmitter signals. Basically like a moray eel. Um, they've always been they've always been intrigued by that one actually, because it's actual kinetic energy that is released within my brain by that genetic trait, and it wasn't green red when I was born. It was actually black, and it slowly turned to green, then green red. That's why I have to get a new one every couple of years to see how far along in my evolution I've come along. Probably at the end of this year it'll be red, and this up here will be turquoise. Or yeah, it's trip. Human evolution never stops. The moment you stop growing less intelligent is the moment that you start to die, and it's a really sad turn off. Let's see, sodium. That is aiding my L type voltage, which could be kinetic, sub electrokinetic ability to transmit information between receptors, apparently, which is a mouthful. So let's see then AC receptor that plays a central role in control of food intake. I fasted for a year straight without food or water, and this was the outcome actually. This genetic trait right here. My I ended up going through dialysis, and I needed to get rid of all the dialysis fluid in my muscles and my body. So I had to do like sweat lodges, saunas, working out, riding, sweating profusely. But at the same time, I couldn't intake any external chemicals. Food dietary like were ridiculous, but this aided in it. The ability to fast without going into a psychotic or episode due to malnutrition, which was a trip. It was weird actually, but when I came off of the fasting of a year, I went back to normal actually. I went from 130 pounds and I'm 250 pounds. So I'm going to get to 280, start working out again. This is dopamine. This is just happy. This is why I'm always laughing. Actually, this is like the happy gene, CC, DRD2, dopamine D2 receptor. It's more pronounced than normal. Black is normal. Green is a little bit more hyper pronounced. Super high pronounced is red, and prominent is turquoise. Which I have a couple prominent genes actually, which they only show the this one prevents autism, Down syndrome, also Alzheimer's. The frontal cortex is once it starts shrinking, you develop early onset Alzheimer's, dementia. This gene actually breaks down the dopamine in my brain, which is actually a good thing actually, because excess dopamine ends up. Think of ecstasy use. And the breakdown and eating away at the brain. That's basically early onset Alzheimer's and dementia. That's the gene that prevents you from having it. VALMET, VALMET, which is COMT, which is pronounced. All my genes were black at birth, and then they started going green, red, and then I have a couple of turquoise ones. So then this one, neurotransmitter release. Those are my reflexes, which are ADRA2ACC, which are more pronounced than normal. That's why they kicked me out of boxing, kickboxing, the Muay Thai, and capoeira, and don't let me compete any longer. Okay, this one's interesting. Vala, BDNF. This is actually neuroplasticity. What neuroplasticity does is I had drop foot at one time, medication-induced drop foot, and normally drop foot is not curable. And what ended up happening is since I have neuroplasticity, what that does, it creates new nerve cells and new nervous system. That's why I grew out my epilepsy. It was post-concussive induced. I haven't had a seizure in 3 years, but I fell 25 feet rock climbing, so I got a really bad concussion. But from that, my Vala went from black to green. So the hopes are on the next Gene Sappy at the end of this year. They should be red. So that's really interesting. The fact that I even snapped my back, broke my my spinal cord at L5, L6. Because of a really bad muscle spasm when I was coming off my medication. So the neuroplasticity responded and ended up creating a new nervous system. When I'm x-rayed and looked under MRIs, it's trippy web effect for me. This is another one, the neurotransmitter receptor, GRIK1 AC. As you can tell right here, this is the hyper extremely pronounced blue or turquoise, green turquoise, which is accelerated healing. My accelerated healing, like I broke my foot, my jaw, it's like when I got punched with a pair of brass knuckles, and 3 days later the swelling had subsided, the bruising had gone away. My jaw it was fractured, healed. That's what it permits. This is a accelerated healing one. It went from normal pronounced to high extremely pronounced with AC on GR1K1 this year because of all the harassment I've been dealing with Long Beach. It's kind of a trip. And then these are my liver enzymes. This is why I actually drink so much. I'm not an alcoholic actually, but if you can tell, my liver enzymes metabolize everything extremely quickly. I'm a fast metabolizer. So when it comes to drinking, it takes me about maybe a pitcher to get buzzed, which is sub-pronounced 1A and 1F, which is red, and then 1 and 1/6, which are CYP 1A2 and CYP 2B6. And the reason it says altered drug metabolism and expect drug serum levels to be altered is because whatever I ingest and whatever goes into my body metabolizes really quickly. This is kind of the reason why I have diamond dust, actually. I have no pores because my body is constantly detoxing in a manner that gets rid of all toxins. And this is what aids it. They believed I used to have a fatty liver due to the fact that my liver enzymes would be raised. But once I went from sub-pronounced to highly pronounced, like watch. So this is a normal gene trait right here, black, which I only have 2 at the moment now. This one, this is just lack of ketones. So my protein level varies right now, but pretty soon when this goes pronounced green, which should be at the end of this year. But yeah, this is human evolution actually, which is kind of a trip. And these are all the medications that I cannot take or don't work on me actually. That's why they do it all the time to better treat me, so they don't give me something like Keppra, which I get the Keppra rage. I become highly irritable on Keppra. But yeah, no, that's it. I'm still surprised that this went from hyperpronounced to, or actually lack of pronouncement, which black, to green turquoise, which is ultra pronounced. I have to give them that though. If it wasn't for the amount of harassment I dealt with Long Beach, my body wouldn't have evolved this quickly. This would probably have been out to about 60 for neuroplasticity and neural reflex regenerative values. And then in the back, the last page 8 of 8, it's my genetic sequences. I had in 2018 a total of 269 gene traits. They've been getting I've been getting more gene traits depending on the stress levels, the environmental, psychological, along with physical stresses and stressors of my life. I think I was born with only 86 genes. And then every couple of years, depending on injury, assault, illness, sickness, I started developing more gene traits. So it's a trip. Human evolution never stops. Vega was like this. Lot was like this. Lucius was like this. Prometheus was apparently like this as well. A bunch of my grandfathers and a bunch of my grandmothers, even Heavenly. Apparently, Heavenly and Odin also had a couple of these gene traits, which were neuroplasticity, which are Vala. It's a trip, but I'll upload this in a little while.